came to help them. Or there's, for example, a very famous story in the book of the Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish, alav shalom, as a sefer that talks about different things that happened in this time. There was a newlywed couple, and the wife came from a religious family, and the guy was religious, but the wife, her father was a businessman, and the father told the husband, listen, you can continue learning after marriage for another 5 years, and I'll pay for it. But after 5 years, you have to start working a little bit. So they agreed. Good shidduch, good family, everything is good. So he was learning for 5 years. Every day, all day he's learning. And after 5 years, the father came to him and said, listen, okay, chazaku ba'ut that you learned for the last 5 years, but what about work? He said, listen, I want to learn Torah. There's plenty of work. I want to learn Torah and we'll figure it out. He goes, listen, why don't you do this? Why don't you at least do some, an hour a day, do some accounting for us. Do the numbers for the business. An hour a day. Why? I don't have to pay for you and your wife and my daughter for the rest of your life. You work for an hour a day. And the wife says to the husband, yeah, why not? He's right. Why? He's going to pay for us forever? Work for an hour a day and learn the rest of the day. So that's what he did. He started working. And the wife continued encouraging him to work more. No, come on, 2 hours a day. No, 3 hours a day. 4 hours. Why? Because every time he worked, he'd make more money. And little by little, there was more money, nicer house, nicer stuff, nicer chandelier, nicer chairs, nicer table, nicer. Before you know it, he stopped learning altogether. Stopped completely learning. On the day that he stopped learning altogether, a DIBUK came into his wife. A DIBUK is a neshama of somebody that's being judged in Kafakela. A person that's not in Gan Eden or in Gehenom. They're roaming outer space. And sometimes they're permitted to go into other people. Now when there's two neshamot in one body, it's mayhem. If you read the book by Rabbi Yehuda, for example, which was translated to English, he talks about all the dibukim that he dealt with in his life of different people that he would help them because they had a dibuk in them and he would take it out, which requires the holy names and so on. But the point is that this wife had a dibuk go into her. She starts saying all types of crazy stuff. A different voice comes out of her. It doesn't sound like her voice. All types of strange things. Started acting crazy, doing crazy things. So the rabbis came and they tied down the woman so she doesn't continue going crazy. And they started talking to Mekubalim. They started talking to the Dibuk. Says, who are you? And Dibuk answered, I was an orphan that didn't know what to do, didn't know Torah, didn't know mitzvot. So, are you okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Didn't know Torah, didn't know mitzvot, so I didn't do anything good in life, and I was a very promiscuous woman. But when I went up to Shamayim, they said, listen, we can't put you in Gehenom because you didn't know anything. But we can't put you in Gan Eden because you didn't do anything good either. So we'll leave you in Kavakela in outer space until you pay the bill for all these bad things that you did, because you still had a brain that you should have discovered and figured out what's the purpose of life. You never did. So you have to go to Kavakela. So then they asked the Dibuk, okay, so who gave you permission to go into this woman? She goes, it's not that they gave me permission. Is that the grandparents of the husband and her grandparents, her grandfather, which were both big tzaddikim, her grandfather and his grandfather were big tzaddikim. They came from Gan Eden. They came to me because they saw me roaming around town and said, listen, you do us a favor, go into our granddaughter over here, go into my daughter-in-law, go into her. Why? because she stopped her husband from learning Torah. So go and tell her, torture her as much as possible until she says, I'm sorry, and she makes her swear that she's going to send her husband to go learn Torah full time. This is written in the book of the Chazon Ish. Maaseh shekara, it's something that happened. Of course, everybody said, yeah, I'm sorry, everybody's sorry. Once you realize what's happening, everybody's sorry. I'm sorry, the grandfather Tzaddik came and got involved in this issue. He took the Avrech and you ruined him, turned him into a businessman. They came to us and said, oh, I'm sorry, he's going to go full time, 25 hours a day, not 24. We're going to invent a new hour for him. Go back to Kollel, go back, learn all day, all night, no problem. And then the DIBUK left. They were allowed to take out the DIBUK. Now, why is this such a big deal? Why is it such a big deal? Why would a grandfather that's tzaddik, a grandfather that's a ish kodesh, get involved with his grandson or great-great-great-grandson 20 generations later? Why would he get involved? Because they are also aware of the capability of the neshama that's here. Meaning, what is expected of the neshama in this world. Which means, your neshama has certain capabilities and certain expectations from Hashem. You may not be aware of them. You may not even think you're able to do it. Because if you would tell a guy that just started keeping Shabbat 6 months ago, you're going to be the next biggest rabbi in the world. You're going to know the entire Shas by heart. You're going to complete it every 2 months. You're going to give shiurim five times a week. You're going to have a kollel with 1,000 avrechim. The guy's going to say, what are you talking about? I don't even know the Chot Shabbat. I just started keeping it a few months ago. I'm on book number 1 out of 30. What are you talking about? You're not going to think, what are you talking about? This is not me. No way. Because you're thinking based on your today knowledge, based on your today ability. But in Shemaim, they understand the real potential of your neshama. Which means that this woman, when she sent her husband to business in Shemaim, they saw what she was doing. She was simply murdering his neshama. And if, let's say for example, that neshama had the ability to be the next Rabbi Akiva Igel, which was a Gdol Hador a couple of 100 years ago, the next Rav Ovadia, the next Rav Wasserman, the next Chavetz Chaim, the next Stipler Gaon, the next Vilna Gaon, next one of these things. That's the ability that this neshama had. It had all the tools to be the next big one. And you send him to go work. You send him to be the next big businessman. You go up to Shemaim, the wife goes up to Shemaim, she thinks she's a tzadikah. Why? Because she kept Shabbat. And she kept Tarat Mishpacha, and her husband donated $1 million every year to kollels. Right? In Shemaim they say, you are a murderer of Rabbi Akiva Igel. You lady, murdered Rav Ovadia. You murdered the Gaon Vilna. What are you talking about? I don't even know Gaon Vilna. No. Your husband was supposed to be the next Gaon Vilna. But every time you went to the kollel, you called him every 5 minutes. No, you're coming home? I want to go eat dinner. No, you're coming? I want to go out. No, you're coming? No, you bothered him. You didn't let him learn. Eventually he lost the ability to learn. He stopped learning. You murdered him. So sometimes a person has the merits of his forefathers where they're tzaddikim and they get involved before it's too late. And we know that many, many times. So that's also how we know, one of the ways we know. And the Gemara also discusses it, that the neshamot of Shemaim are aware of things that are happening in this world, but we see it in real life. We see it in books, we see it in things that have happened, things that we've seen, things that are still happening today, where there are certain neshamot that are very much aware of the certain people that are connected to them still in this world.